And before I talk about compassion, I'm going to invite us into a practice of compassion that will be familiar, I imagine, to pretty much everyone, and that is the loving kindness meditation. Do you want to play? You, yeah, I was going to do the talk and then the meditation, but I felt inspired by your music that we're going to meditate first. We didn't. It's all good, though. We are resting, right? We're resting with the beloved, sensing the breath of the beloved breathing in us, the love of the beloved in our veins, in our soul, in these bodies that have experienced so much that has shaped the character of our spirits. So as we settle in, feeling your body supported, your gaze softened or your eyes closed, your hands may be resting gently, open to receive on your lap or resting on your body in support. And we begin by that compassion that is sometimes the most difficult, to bring loving kindness to ourselves. So invite your heart to open with tenderness and self-compassion. And you may want to repeat these phrases in your own heart and mind after I say them, or just let them wash over you. May I be filled with loving kindness. And may I be held in loving kindness. May I feel connected and calm. May I accept myself with compassion. May I be happy, safe, and free. May I be peaceful and at ease. And now centered in that self-compassion, opening the circle of your heart to include a beloved, someone for whom it is so easy to send love and compassion. And feel your love circling them as you hear these words. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel love and compassion now. May you be happy, safe, and free. May you be peaceful and at ease. And now with that circle of love and compassion expanding from you, bring into that circle all of those you love, but also those you don't know, people that you pass in your day-to-day, and even those you find difficult to love, difficult to trust. And pull them too into the circle of your love and compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be held in loving kindness. May you feel love and compassion. May you be happy, safe, and free. May you be peaceful and at ease. And now we expand our circle of love to our more than human sisters and brothers, to our sacred Mother Earth, to our ancestors and the future generations, to the cosmos. May all beings everywhere be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be held in compassion. May all beings awaken and be free. May they be safe and at peace. And may we be love and kindness and compassion and peace and safety. May we be those gifts in action, always and in all ways. And so it is. Amen. Thanks for the inspiration, Mark. I found some clip art of the old-fashioned little compass. So just as a little guiding light, you know, we could think of a compass that we might take hiking or camping if you're into those sorts of things. That points us towards our North Star. That image could work as well. But I loved the image that JP, as his friends call him, John Philip Newell, I loved this image of this old-fashioned compass as a way to connect dots, a way to connect two points, a way to connect two hearts. And so, you know, a couple of weeks ago when I talked about the whole earth and our sacred relationship with all of creation, that sense of oneness that is our affirmation, that is our experience, that draws us to fill up our well here with each other and then bring that back out into community and to continue that infinity loop that is life. that is all around us on our walls here, thanks to Zelda, who is visiting us here today. So I'm just going to give you this little reminder of one of the passages I read 2 weeks ago, but that is the reminder that we are not only made by God, we are made of God. So we are not, of course, each of us individually, the totality of the creative force. Our totality is all creative force. All together, we start to come close to being able to imagine what the totality of that great open door, that mystery, that ineffable creative energy that called us forth, what that is. So as we think about what it means then to step into the world fully aware and awake to our oneness with that power, what does that then mean? Because it is one of those things, it's easy to say those words. It is sometimes hard to live into what that then calls forth in us. So in chapter 2, Reconnecting with Compassion, he writes, and I can picture the intersection, and again, I feel the privilege of having been on that little tiny island where this book leads us to different pilgrimage stops along the way. But a crossroads. There's a crossroads. There's only 2 main roads on this 1 foot by 3 foot island. The road that goes north and south, and then a small road that connects at the lower end, the southern end of the island. But we can think of many crossroads, I would imagine, in our own lives. How many of you have ever faced a crossroads in your life where you're like, let's see. How many of you are knee-deep in a crossroads at this very moment? Right, of course. Right, so in that image of being at a crossroads, the way knows the way. We step, and the path appears as we are walking. That's the pilgrimage journey of our lives. But we don't always know in that moment of facing what feels like a crossroads, which way should we go? And so that crossroads is an invitation to pause, to breathe, to rest in the song and the heart and the arms of the beloved, and slow things down. And to trust that no matter which way we decide to go on that path, that we go with that power that walks with us and in us and as us. So here we are in a crossroads, always at some moment. In Proverbs chapter 8, we hear that Lady Wisdom, Sophia, stands at the crossroads of life. This is from the book. One of wisdom's characteristics is compassion. At every moment in our lives and on every pathway in the world, do we know that we can access the gift of wisdom? It is deeper than our individual consciousness, deeper than rationality, deeper than our ego, and it leads us into the way of compassion. Those words that my new friend J.P. Newell wrote should sound very familiar to those of you who are familiar with Unity teachings, or to many of the world's wisdom traditions that help us to understand that that wisdom, that divine guidance, that insight, that awareness, that awakening is always available to us. But what are the things that make us go like this? take tiny, timid steps with our blinders on. I don't know about you, but I have a whole list of things that make me want to go like this. Fear, what if I don't do it right? All of those things that keep us seeing small. The hurts, the pain that we experience in relationship. Those things can help us close our eyes to the bigger view, the wise view. So, my little clip art, the word compass and compassion, you don't need to be an English major to see the etymology of those two words are connected. I love the word etymology. I do love words. And I love that idea that this compass is used to determine the relationship between 2 points. The related word compassion, and again, this is from John Philip Newell. The related word compassion is about honoring the relationship between 2 people or between one group and another, and remembering those who suffer. It is about making the connection between the heart of my being and the heart of yours, and following that connection, not just seeing it, but following it. Even when we're really not too sure which way we should go. Compassion then invites us into a threefold path, and this is very much inspired by the Buddhist teaching, and the example that he uses in the book is Suki, who is a Burmese activist who was under house arrest for years, who very much followed a nonviolent path similar to Gandhi. So what is the courage to see? Look around at the faces in this room and just find somebody that you maybe don't know too well and take a second or two to make eye contact. To live compassionately is to courageously see the connection between ourselves and those who suffer. Is there anybody in here, and raise your hand if this is true, who has never suffered? Not so far today. That's awesome. And that's not actually true for some, right? Oh my goodness. So we see, if we're lucky, with our eyes open, we see that we are not unique in that we suffer, even if our suffering feels very unique to us. So if we see that connection, if we become aware of that connection, it invites us to feel it. I don't have an aging dog in my life, but I feel compassion for my friends and loved ones who do. We feel that connection. And then we're invited to act. So first we see with eyes of compassion. Then we feel with the heart of compassion. And then we act with compassion. That's the whole point of sacred activism, is to do your own spiritual mining in your life so that the action, the activism you do is grounded and rooted in love. We say every week we embrace the divine essence of all beings. One of the reasons I invite you to think about with your heart mind one of those beings who is easy for you to see, that divine essence, is because it then, I know for me anyways, helps me make the leap. It is not always easy to make the leap. We have this strange gift of living in interesting times. And yet we also know that every time is interesting. It is so difficult sometimes to see with eyes of compassion somebody whose way of life is different than ours, somebody whose country is not acting in ways that we want ours to act. In our own neighborhoods, who's the neighbor that has the lawn that's growing higher than you want the grass to look on your street? Or your dryer sheets blew over the fence. There's little ways, and then those big ways that we find it difficult to see with eyes of compassion. That is our biggest challenge. I think it is our biggest challenge as humans, is to allow our eyes to see that the divine essence is in all beings, not just the beings we love. And even sometimes the beings we love, it's hard to see that divine essence in them. Again, raise your hand if that's never been true for you. So from that seeing to the courage to feel. Because it does take courage. It takes courage even in a loving kindness meditation to invite that vision of somebody that is challenging for you to send that out to them. It takes courage even in that. So how do we remain open? How do we let that flow of compassion into our hearts without it then also sweeping us away and holding someone else's pain so much that we forget where our own boundary is? That's not self-compassion then. So in that sense of being open, of feeling a soft front and a firm back. I remember hearing that in a guided meditation once, and it so resounded. My soft heart is open, and yet it is held by strength. How do we keep that flow open? Practices. Over and over, I come back to that need for spiritual practice, for time away to refresh, for doing a meditation, for taking a walk, for reading something. Mary, that poem that you found, Wendell Berry, I love Wendell Berry, and I particularly love that poem. What brings you that sense of spaciousness inside your heart that then helps your eyes and your heart to see clearly and to feel clearly? This is one of our spiritual practices, showing up together in community. Filling our well, going back out into community, filling our well. Take a moment to do that with me. We haven't done that together in a while, and feel energetically what that is, to fill and to go out. In that space then, feeling our connection to all that is, we then have the courage to act. To offer a hug, to offer a word of encouragement, to offer a ride, to offer a meal, to go and protest, to write letters about the things in the big world that rile you up. But that holy passion, if it is stemming from love and from the clarity of seeing through a bigger lens than our myopic blinders sometimes give us, That then gives us the courage to take action no matter how small it is. On my own pilgrim journey on Iona, and I apologize if I've shared this story before, but it resonated as I was thinking about this, that courage to act. Some of the women who were on this retreat, Sue and I were kind of the median age, but a couple of the younger women were really journeying with a grief about the state of the world that called into question whether or not they should have kids, whether or not they should worry about finding a life partner, what they should do for work, because does it matter? But that hunger drew, two of these women in particular, drew them to this retreat. And so at one of our crossroads, when her heartfelt question bubbled up, what does this matter? What does it matter that we get to be here in this holy place doing this beautiful thing? What difference does it make? The only answer I had for her is the answer I have for us. I don't know. But I trust that the only way I know how to live is that it does make a difference. I don't know any other way to face those big things in the world, those things in my own family, those things in my own life, except to say, yes, it matters. My standing still, feeling grounded and held in the arms of the beloved, bringing that here and receiving from you, I have to trust that it matters, and if it doesn't, I don't care. I still know it is the only way that makes sense for me to live. So that is our invitation. That is the call we say together every single week. It is the gift of having courage to see, courage to feel our own sorrows and the sorrows of the world, and the courage to act in whatever way we can, in ways of compassion, in ways of integrity and peace, in ways that invite those words that we warmly welcome all to be true. And it's true for those parts of ourself that are hard to welcome. So to swing this back to the opening of a loving kindness meditation, sometimes the person for whom it is hardest for us to have compassion is ourself. So I invite you this week to notice, what are those parts of yourself that you've kind of exiled? You've sent them out to the wilderness and you don't want them around. They're messy, they're noisy, they're loud. What would happen if you welcomed them in also and see your own journey with eyes of compassion, to feel the power of your own journey and all it has meant to bring you to this moment? And then to find those actions that nourish you, that give you then the strength to nourish the people who are a part of your world. So may we be filled with loving kindness. May we feel peaceful and at ease. May we be safe and happy and filled with compassion. And may we be signs of that in every moment of our lives. And so it is. Amen.